Hello everyone, welcome to the Microsoft Azure Certification Series. This is Lakshit Pant, your host for today, and I'm from Azure Developer Community. Azure Developer Community is helping community enthusiasts and is a very diverse community with all the folks who wants to upskill themselves in Microsoft Azure. We have started this Microsoft certification series so that you can all learn about Microsoft Azure and get yourself certified. This certification series has three fundamentals, covers the three fundamental certification, that is Microsoft Azure Fundamentals, sounds like AZ-900. The second one is AI Fundamentals, that is AI 900, and the last one is DP Fundamentals, that is data fundamentals, that is DP 900. So this time we are going to start with AZ-900 Microsoft Azure Fundamentals that will help you out to really get the insights about Microsoft and the offered services by Microsoft and the core services offered by Microsoft. And for this, we have our expert speaker, Mrs. Bhagwi ma'am, who has been doing incredible community work, and she has been doing a really great community work around the Azure and services, and she's Microsoft certified trainer. She will help you out to bring the best career out in the cloud computing. So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Lakshit. Without taking much time, uh, let us start with
Sure, ma'am.
AZ-900.
Sure.
Can you please confirm if my screen is visible?
As of now, it's not visible. Yeah, it's visible. Yeah, it's visible.
Okay.
It's here. Perfect.
Hello, all. This is Bhargavi here. I am a Microsoft certified trainer and have been, like Lakshit said, I had been serving for Azure developer community for more than an year and had been conducting these kind of uh, sessions as well. Let's start with the AZ-900 for today. Okay, AZ-900 when it comes to certification part, we have around 6 modules to be covered, and out of which we would be seeing the first 2 modules for today. And let me start explaining what those modules are. Module one would be of the cloud concepts that are needed, what you have to gain, and the module 2 would be covering the core Azure services that are there for the for the Azure that are needed, and module 3 would be including the core solutions and the management tools that would be needed when you start using the Azure. And module 4 would be having the would be basically declaring about the security and the network security, and module 5 would be covering about the governance, privacy and compliance, and module 6 would be covering about the cost management and how do you want to maintain your SLAs, and how do you create a dashboard, and all those kind of stuff will be included in module 6. And uh, let me start giving an outline of what is module 1 all about. It would be covering the cloud models, like whether it is a public, what is meant by public, what is meant by private, and hybrid cloud. And few things would be here for the persons who are already there using the other cloud will be having these kind of knowledge, but for those who are completely new to cloud, they would find it useful. And we can expect these kind of questions as well uh, in the exam as well, like there would be a difference between what is private and what would be included in private, and what would be the difference between private and public. And when we have private and public, then what's the difference for hybrid? These kind of questions would be included for the certification part. So we would be seeing those as a glimpse for today, and we would be starting those things, and then we will be having the cloud benefits and considerations, which would include what is the benefit of using cloud, and also what would you consider when you want to build a cloud. these all things will also be we will be seeing all those things as well. And we will also be including the services that can be built, like what is IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, and how do we share the responsibility across the cloud. So these all things would be covered under the module one. And uh, when we start looking into uh, when we start looking into cloud, so we should also start explaining what is meant by cloud computing. Cloud Okay. Yeah, cloud computing is like it would be a delivery of the computing services over the internet, which would be enabling the faster innovation, and also it would be having the compute, networking, storage, analytics. You can do n type of uh, things that can be done inside the cloud. So these all things will be included, and you would be merging together, and you would be making it possible, and that becomes the cloud computing. And when you start looking at the differences between the public, private, and uh, hybrid cloud, we would be going one by one. What is public cloud is like, the cloud services, sorry. Okay. The cloud services which are hosted by self, which are hosted by some cloud services, like what do we do for Azure, right? So when these becomes the public cloud, and these also provides the resources, services to multiple organizations and the users, wherein they can be used by, when you pay and get it, you will be able to use it. So that becomes the public cloud. So these can be accessed via an secured connection, meaning when you log in into the azure.portal.com, then you will be able to access the cloud of Azure, right? So that becomes the secure network connection for it, and where you would be entering your email ID, and you would be able to get the get the details when you provide your details, right? So all those kind of things becomes the secure network connection. So it all happens over the internet. And when you start looking opposite of what is private network, and there are scenarios like when you consider for army, that would have been made, all those data that needs to be stored will be maintained by that own organization itself. So those kind of scenario would be coming under the private cloud, like the data center will be created by the organization itself, and they would be maintaining it. And what happens here is the organization will be responsible for all the services um, that are being offered for itself. And what happens here is they would not be the others who are apart from the organization, right? So they will not be able to access the private cloud. So only the people who are there inside the organization will be able to use it. And when you consider the hybrid cloud, what happens is it is a combination of both private and public together. So and you can run it in the appropriate location where you want to make it run. That becomes the hybrid cloud. And this has the advantages of both public as well as the private things to be delivered together, and you can make it used whenever you want to deliver it in your location. And what happens in let's see some kind of comparison between pri- private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. What happens in public cloud is you don't have to invest on something, like you don't have any capital expenditure. Whenever you are using something, then you would be paying for it. And when it goes for a private cloud, what happens is you have to purchase the hardware that is needed for the data center to be run, right? So all those kind of things has to be done. The data center, which is going to be the heart of the heart of the running process, right? So that has to be kept all times running. So that has to be maintained also. It has to be updated whenever it needs. And whatever the maintenance cost that incurs, that also has to be covered as part of it. So all those things will be taken care by the organization that maintains it. So that becomes the private cloud. When it comes to hybrid cloud, what happens here is, it would be providing the flexibility. Like what we saw earlier, it is the combination of both private and public, right? So what happens here is you can determine, if you are running an organization and if you opt for hybrid cloud, then you can be deciding on which application do you want to run. And then what kind of security, compliance, or legal requirements that you need for your cloud. These all things can be decided by yourself, and you can opt for that particular thing. This is the advantage that the hybrid cloud has. And going forward, let's see what are the cloud benefits and the considerations that what we can see. Cloud benefits, when we see, it is like identifying the benefit of the cloud computing. Like what would be the benefit of the cloud when you use when you are when you want to, like what we saw, you have to make the cloud available always, so it becomes high availability. Scalability is something like when you want to extend your work, then extend your storage, or when you want to do something like that, then that becomes the scalability. Elasticity is also something like scalability. The difference between the elasticity and the scalability is something like, you would be having the here in elasticity, you would be not measuring, you would be taking the amount of the storage that it wants to store. So whenever your size increases, the elasticity will also get increased, like what an elastic does. So when you want to increase the size of it, you will be able to do it. And there goes the disaster recovery as well. Disaster recovery is something like um, when when some kind of disaster comes, you would be having a recovery backup of it, right? So that kind of backup comes under all these kind of things, comes under the cloud benefit. When you are maintaining your own cloud, then you should be able to have all these things in place, and you should be able to decide it. And we will also be seeing what is the difference between the capital expenditure and the operational expenditure. And the cloud benefit will also be including what is the difference between those capital expenditure and the operational expenditure. And then we will also be seeing about the consumption based model. Let's now see what are the cloud benefits that are available to us. Cloud will be always available. Like whenever you want to use, you would be able to use the cloud. And it is a fault tolerance one. Fault tolerance meaning, when some kind of things occurs wrongly, it would be able to you would be able to come back or revert back, so that it is a kind of a fault tolerance. And scalability is something like what we saw earlier. Scalability and elasticity we had covered. And a disaster recovery, agility, global reach is something like the cloud will be available all over the world, so you would be able to use it, or when you want to upload and when someone else want to see, then they would be able to see even when they are in the different location. That becomes the global reach. And customer latency capabilities will also be included here. And predictive cost consideration is something like what you would be um, there are some predictive costs that can be done, right? So all those things will be done, and the security will also be part of the cloud benefit that it comes. So these all are the benefits of the cloud. And now let's see what is meant by capex and opex. Capex is something like when you want to when you want to invest on the physical infrastructure, then that becomes the capex. The cost from the capex have the value that reduces over time. This means that uh, you would be investing on something, on a physical infrastructure, like buying and uh, um, buying and setting the data center. All those things can be done, right? All those kind of physical infrastructure that you are setting up, the day that you buy those kind of physical infrastructure will be degrading day by day, and you have to put those things. When something goes wrong, uh, you have to replace those things, and that becomes the reduces over time. And when it comes to operational expenditure, it is something like the i- the um, it is like when you want to use, you would be paying for it, like pay as you go policy. And this would also include on the product and the services that are being offered. And what happens here is you would be getting a bill of whatever that you are using, and instead of paying it for the physical infrastructure and everything, wherein here like if you create a virtual machine and if you are using it for next 30 days, then you would be getting the bill at the 30th day. So it works something like that, and that becomes the operational expenditure. Yeah. Let's now see what is consumption based model. And consumption based model is something like when the cloud service is being uh, provided as operate on a consumptional basis model, which means that the end user will pay only for the usage that what they are using for the resources. This is like what we saw earlier, pay as you go policy. So whatever the things that you are using for, you would be paying it for that. And this is like you would be having the better cost prediction. So if you are if you are aware of the first month bill, then uh, you would be able to predict the second month bill as well, right? So that better cost prediction can happen when we use the consumption based model. And then what we can use is you would be able to get the prices for the different resource and the services are provided. Like there would be different prices for different resources, and you don't have to pay for all the resources that you are not using it, you are not going to use, or you are not using it. You would be paying only for the services and the resources that you are currently using. So it's all about the billing that is meant for only the usage that what you are going to use. And when it comes for the cloud services, we do have the three kind of services that are there, which is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. And along with that, what we would be seeing is we would be identifying a service type based on a use case, and apart from that, we would be seeing what is shared responsibility model and what is serverless computing as well. And infrastructure as a service is something like, um, when you are building a pay as you go infrastructure by renting the servers, virtual machines, storage, network, operating systems from a cloud provider. Then that becomes the infrastructure as a service, where the infrastructure will be given to you as a service and you would be using it. Here, as the diagram represents, you would be getting the virtual machines, storage, network, operating system, all those things from the cloud provider, and you would be using it. So that is all about the infrastructure as a service. When it comes to a platform as a service, what happens here is you would be it provides the environment for building, testing, deploying software applications without focusing on managing underlying infrastructure, where it would be the the infrastructure will be of a different one, and it would be providing all those kind of uh, a platform that is needed for all your testing, building, deploying, and that kind of things will be taken care by the cloud. Then then that becomes platform as a service. And when it comes for a software as a service, you would be getting the software that you need to be used from the cloud, and you would be making it use, like what you use for Microsoft Office 365 or Power Apps or email, calendars, all those things, right? So all those kind of different application, sorry, different um, software will come under the software as a service. And all the other things will be maintained, or that can be let's now see what's the difference between the software software as a service, PaaS, and IaaS. What happens here is, in IaaS, the it would be more flexible, and then in PaaS it would be having the application development to be focused, and in SaaS you would be paying on for the model that you are going to use. And in IaaS, what you would be doing is you would be you configure and manage the hardware and your application, but in uh, platform as a service, you would be handling uh, the platform management is handled by the cloud provider, wherein other things like software and other things have to be managed by yourself. Whereas in software as a service, what happens is the software will be given to you based on the subscription model. Like when you when you log into a Office 365, then you would be given based on the subscription, right? So that kind of software, that kind of subscription will be coming under the software as a service. And let's now see what are the things that would be maintained by the uh, by you, and what are the things that would be given by cloud provider. um, and when it comes to when it comes to infrastructure as a service, these are the things that are there as a whole, like storage, networking, compute, virtual machine, operating system, runtime, application, data, and access. Out of these, the compute, networking, storage will be alone provided by the cloud cloud provider for the infrastructure as a service, whereas you have to maintain your own operating system, virtual machine, runtime, applications, data and access, all those different kind of things that are available to you. Whereas when it comes to platform as a service, you would be given the virtual machine operating system runtime as an extra piece, include apart from the infrastructure as a service to you, and you just have to maintain the data and access and application that are needed to be installed inside the virtual machine, or whatever the thing that the platform needs to be run. So you will be doing that alone, you will be managing those things alone. Whereas when it comes to software as a service, you will be having only the data and access to be managed by yourself. All the other things will be taken care by the cloud itself. It's a kind of a you will be getting the whole thing in your hand, and you just have to start working on it by paying it. So all the things will be provided by the cloud provider, and you just have to maintain the data and access that it needed for. And let's now see what is meant by serverless computing. Serverless computing is something like whenever the cloud provider automatically scales up and provides the infra and manages the infrastructure that is required to run your code, then that becomes the serverless computing. When you check for the Azure related thing, then we do have these two different things, which are Azure functions and Azure logic apps, that are available to us as a part of serverless computing, where Azure functions is a kind of a service that that will be creating the infrastructure based on the event that what we are going to do for it. And Azure logic app is something like a cloud service that will help you to automate as well as orchestrate tasks. Orchestrate in the sense like what we do in other other cloud uh, related things as well, right? So it will be uh, telling you the stepwise task that needs to be done, as well as it will be helping you with the business processes and the workflows that you need to integrate with the apps, data systems, and the services that are needed for your serverless computing. And these are the things that are available to us with the serverless computing. And when this until now we had covered till the module 1, and what will we will be seeing uh, some kind of the when how do we log into Azure portal, and what are the subscriptions that are available, and we will be covering all those things in the module 2. And with that, we will also be stepping in what fully related to the Azure from this moment. So till now, if we are clear, then we would be able to pitch in and get the points that are needed for Azure, and we will be able to work on the things, and we will also be seeing uh, some kind of demos that where we would be able to see what are the resources that are available, and then how do we create a virtual machine. All those kind of things we would be seeing in the module 2 demo. And let's now let's now jump into the module 2, where we would be seeing about the Azure architectural components. Also, we would be covering the Azure resources that are available to us. And when it comes to Azure architectural components, what we would be seeing is what are the regions that are available for the Azure, as well as the availability zones that is needed, as well as the subscriptions and the resource groups. We will be covering on all those things, and we will be seeing the uh, details on it. And when it comes to Azure, cl- sorry, core Azure resources, we would be seeing on compute, networking, storage, and databases. And out of which we would be seeing on how to create a database and how to query it as well in demo. And um, yeah, when it comes to core Azure architectural component, what we mean here is we would be seeing about the region and the region pair, availability zones, Azure resources, resource group, Azure Resource Manager, subscriptions, and Azure management groups. We would be seeing all those things in detail in the upcoming slides, and we would be discussing on those things as well. These are the different kind of the things that are needed for sure when we start, and we have to know these terms when we are stepping into Azure and start using it. So we would be expecting these kind of the this is one kind of the part where we would be getting the questions also from the exam point of view for AZ-900 certification. And when it comes to region, what happens is, like the diagram mentions, we do have the regions for Azure all over the world almost. Like it says here, we have Azure offers global region than any cloud provider with 60 plus regions representing 140 countries. And region are made up of one or more data center in close proximity. Like when you want to deploy something, then you would be choosing, when you want to create a resource or deploy something, then when it's kind of near region to you, then it would be working more faster to you. That's why it it's available all over the region, and you would be choosing the nearest region and zone that is needed for you. And it also provides the flexibility and scale to reduce the customer latency, meaning it would be providing the flexibility and scaling up, um, and it would scale up automatically whenever the customer increases, and it would scale down whenever the customer decreases. So it has that kind of capability uh, by itself, and you would be able to use all those things when you are using the Azure. And when you do have a data residency with comprehensive compliance offering, meaning you will be having the like what do we have for data center, right? So when we want to store the data, we will be we will be having something like the China data has to be stored only in the China region, whereas the India data has to be stored only in the India region. So all those kind of the security compliance as well will be dealt when we start, because of the region, and we can use the nearest region that is available for us, so that it will also be having the data complaints that it needed for the storage of the data. And when it comes to region pair, what happens is, we will be having the region. You can pair uh, you can make a pair of these things, and what will happen is, we do have at least 300 mile of separation between region pairs. And what is all meant by this is, it will be having the automatic replication for some services. And what will happen is it will be prioritizing the region recovery in event of the outage. Like if it's not available, then it would switch back to the region that is next to it, which is in pair to it, and that would that would start running up. So that would actually minimize the downtime are that are being done for the cloud. And we will also be in the situation the where we will be getting some kind of update as well, right? So all those, or in all those times we will be having the downtime downtime of the specified region. So instead of that, if it works on the region pair, it would switch back to that pair, and that will start running, and this can be updated is what the region pair means, and that would start taking place. So this is one kind of the major thing that is available in almost all kind of the clouds that are available in market today. And available options is something like, whenever, since it is available all over the zones and the regions that are there, what happens is, whenever you do have a single VM that has been created, then what will happen is we will be having the 99% premium storage. Meaning, what will happen is it will be easier lift and shift. Meaning you can lift it up and shift it with the different availability zones that are available to you, as well as you can pair it up with the region pair as well, and make it work accordingly. So that what happens is the VM will always be in running, and it will not be having um, any kind of the downtime for it. And this will also work even in the time of disaster. Like, it will be having the multi-region disaster recovery being included in it. So that's the availability options that what you can have for cloud. And then what will happen is, one second. Okay. Next comes the Azure availability zones. Availability zones is something like, whenever the region has been specified, you would be specifying the zone along with it. That kind of zone is being specified because you would be specifying some kind of zone, right? When that zone goes down, then the other zone comes in, and that will start running in. So the Azure region will have the multiple zone being available with it, and you would be able to use any one of it. And when something goes wrong, then automatically the second one gets picked up, and that will start running. What happens in the availability zone is like, it would be provide, like what we discussed, it would be providing the protection against the downtime to the data center failure. Also what will happen is, it will be having the physically separate data center within the same region. And what we would be doing is we would be connecting through the private fiber optic networks, so that if something goes wrong, then automatically the second one gets picked up, right? So that is actually the basic thing that is available for the um, availability zone. And when it comes to each data center, it will be equipped with independent power, cooling, and network, right? So all those different things will also be. Um, it is not sure that. Um, I mean, it is not sure that all those different data center that is there will be under the um, will be under the same region, but it may be physically different, but it will be within the same region. So that is the major thing, that the Azure region uh, will have the unique thing about it, and the zone will be mostly helping on the downtime and the other kind of things that is needed for making the data center to be up always. And when it comes to Azure resources, we do have many components that are available to us inside the Azure portal. Like, it can be storage, which is like databases, SQL, or third party tool as well, third party databases as well, virtual machine, networks, and then functions, app services, web app, all those kind of things that are available to big data, chatbot, all those kind of things can be available to us in the form of the Azure resources. So all those things that can be accessed within the Azure portal in the form of the Azure resource becomes the Azure resources. So we will be seeing what Azure resource group is. Resource group is something like when is it's a container to manage and aggregate the resources into a single unit. Like when you want to put in a web, DB, VM storage together, then that becomes the Azure group. Like, you would be grouping the resources that are available in Azure to put in inside the group, and you would be using it. So that becomes the Azure group. And the resources can be in different region. It does not mean that it should be in the same region. So it will be in different region, and you can move it to different resource group as well. And it is not mandatory that this should be under the same resource group. So you can have n number of resources inside the resource group, as well as you can move it to the different group whenever you need as well. And then it is like applications can utilize multiple resource group at the same time as well. So these are the advantages of using the resource group that is available uh, in Azure. And then what we would be seeing is, we do have something called as resource manager as well, which is called as ARM, which will be having which will actually let you create, update, and delete resources in your Azure subscription to how much ever resources or resource group that you have. You would be having only one Azure resource manager from for one subscription. And then you may have multiple subscription for one account based on the subscription that you are buying as well. And then you will be having only one ARM that will be available to you when you are creating multiple resources as well. Like it says, you will be having different kind of things that are available, like portal, shell, powershell, CLI, REST clients. All those things are different things, right? So all those things will be maintained under the Azure resource manager. And then you do have something like resource group as well here. These are resources, but when you want to group it together, then that becomes a resource group, like web app, virtual machine, service management. So all those things will also be maintained under the same thing. And when it comes to subscription, like what we said, it will be subscription will be uh, something like what you are going to buy for yourself. You can buy n number of subscription for yourself, like it describes. And what happens is, when you are counting on the billing boundary, what will happen is it will be generating the separate billing report and invoices that are used for each subscription that you are going to use. For in this case, there are around 8 subscriptions, right? 8 subscriptions, right? So you will be getting 8 different billing reports that are needed, and it would be sent to the person who manages it. And then access control boundary is something like, which will be managing and controlling access to the resources that user can provision with specific subscription, like the access that what you can get for each subscription will be having some different kind of subscription. So considering the same example, that what you are using at your office, you do use the Azure subscription. For some cases, you do use Azure in your office, right? So you will not be able to access the same as the Azure admin does. So that becomes the difference between your access and the admin's access. So that kind of the Azure access control boundary will be managing it, and we will be having the specific subscription based on that, and your subscription is only to use these Microsoft 365 and other things, maybe of that sort. But the admin subscription will be managing your subscription and the other subscription as well. So there lies the difference between the access that is there between the different boundary that are available to us. So all those things will be managed under the Azure control boundary. And then what happens is, yeah, let's go and walk through what is meant by Azure portal, and how do you create and everything. I do have opened already. This is the Azure portal that what we were actually talking about. This would be the home where you can actually create the dashboards as well as the resources that what you need for that what you are actually expecting for. And let's now see what are some kind of the resources that are available to us, and what would be the major things that what we would be using. Virtual machine is something like, when you have the when you want to create and use the virtual machine, then you would be going for it. And web app is something like when you want to create the web application, and when you want to use it, then you would be going for it. Function app is something like what we saw right now, right? So functions, Azure functions, so that is this one, and you would be using it. And one advantage that Azure always offers you is you do have something called as docs. And inside docs, when you click and open it, then you will be able to see what's that virtual machine is, or what's that particular resources in detail about it. And you will be able to you will be having um, enough documentations on what are those things and how does it work. So we will be having all those things as well. And apart from that, we do have documents and Microsoft Learn as well, like it would be including in the chapter wise, and you can go ahead and learn from it whenever you are not confident enough on it. And once you are able to complete it, I'm sure that you will be able to understand it. It's all about the self learning that what we can put in. So everything is everything is given to us, and we just have to refer it and do it. So coming back to the resources that are available, there are a number of the resources that are available to us. We saw something like logic app as well, right? So now so that kind of things is also available here. And apart from that, if you want to create servers, then you will be able to create the servers that are available to us. And not just this, you will be able to get the, when you click on the categories, then you will be able to see the resources that are available to you. um, like what we saw, you like I was describing, we will be able to create chat bot, and you will be able to use the computer vision have the um, to have the visions that are available, like when you want to read something out of the OCR, or when you want to read out of the form, then you would be like the optical character recognition, right? So that thing will be coming under the form recognizer, and then you will be seeing what is speech cognitive services that are available. All those kind of machine learning things is also available to you inside the Azure portal. Not just machine learning things, you do have blockchain related things, and you can also use you can also use these ledger, and whatever the things that what you have to do will be you will be able to use it based on the subscription that what you are actually buying for. When when I come to subscription word, what I mean here is you will be given a credit of whatever the subscription that what you are buying for it. Or when you are a student, or when you are a student, then Microsoft will be giving you a free trial version by yourself for I'm not sure of the exact credit that it gives you, but it would be giving a free um, amount of the subscription to make it useful for a certain days, wherein you can use those, and you can get it done. And if you are a professional and want to learn Azure, then what you can do is you can you can create it with your Gmail ID, or the personal email ID that is available to you. And with that, what you can do is you can actually you will be asked to give the credit card or debit card details, and with that you will be given a month free, and year free as well. And with that you will be able to use the datas that are available sorry the resources that are available to you, and make it useful. So this is all about the subscription that what we will be using. So if you are buying some professional subscription, then you will be able to use something like Databricks, or the ones which are available uh, in the higher machine learning, or the big data things, right? So all those kind of things will require the higher subscription that what you have to put in. um, when you want to use something like creation of chatbot, or creation of VM, then Azure by itself will be giving you some kind of trial version, and where you can give a trial out of it and make use of your learning. So it depends on the resources that what you are looking for, and the subscription that what you have bought for. You can navigate here and come to whichever the resource that what you have to find. And this will also include the third party resources that are available to us. It's all not related to Azure alone, right? So it is like WordPress is a different one. So that is also been available to us. Ubuntu is not been part of Microsoft alone. So it has been, it is also been available. It's not just been it's not just the Microsoft products will alone be available here. It also includes the third party tool that what you have to use. And another one thing is that instead of just navigating and doing it, what you can do is you can also go to this shell programming and start using it. This is called as the shell. So wherein when you want to create, you will be using the PowerShell and you will be creating it for the first time. Like it asks here, you will be asked to create for it, and you will be creating it. And once you create it, the terminal will be, you have to enter the resource, and based on the commands that what you enter, you will be able to get the details or get the resources being allocated for you. So this is all about the portal that what we are currently seeing. And then get back into let's get back into few more things are left in our hands, and we will be seeing those things as well. Let's see something like just 10 more to 15 more minutes, uh, and then 5 to 6 minutes we will come back to the same slide that sorry we will come back to the same resource creation and everything that what we are currently seeing right now. Yeah. What is meant by the management group is like when you you may have you may have multiple Azure subscription, right? It is also something like you can have only one management group that is available to you. And what happens is you will be having the subscriptions will inherit conditions applied to the management groups. And then what will happen is you will be having the um, 10,000 management groups can be supported inside the single directory, and you can use it. And then what happens is you will be having the management group tree can support up to 6 levels of depth. Like it comes here, first will be the management group, and post that it will be based on the subscription that what you have bought. And then it would be the resource group that are available to you, and with the resource group you will be having the resources available to you, right? So all those this is called as the tree structure of management group, and this is how it would work. Management group acts as the first thing that is available before your subscription, and this would be the one which would be managing your subscription as well. And then we will be seeing what are the workload products that are available to us, and we will also be seeing what is meant by the compute services and everything. Azure compute service is something like it is an on demand networking, is an on demand computing service that provides computing services such as disk, processor, memory, networking, and operating system. So all those kind of all those kind of things that are that are needed will be provided by the compute service like virtual machine, app services like what we saw right now, right? Web service. So that also comes under the compute services that has been offered. And Kubernetes, virtual desktop, container service, these all are also part of the compute service that are being offered to us. And post that, let's get into the deep of what is meant by Azure Virtual Machine. It's a um, it's a software emulation of physical computer, like what we have for the virtual machine, right? So it will have the virtual processor, virtual memory, storage, and networking. Like you will be having a desktop inside a desktop. You will be running the inside your personal desktop. You will be able to see another desktop that has been available under a window. So that is that will be like virtual thing, and you will be able to access it. And that might have been created in some other place, and you will be able to use that. So that becomes the um, Azure virtual machine. And then what happens is IaaS, what we saw earlier, right? Infrastructure as a service will be providing the total control and customization to the Azure virtual machine. Let We will be seeing how to create the virtual machine and what would be needed as well, going forward. And in Azure App Services, what is Azure App Services is, it is a fully managed platform to build, deploy, and scale web applications and API quickly. It will be working well with .NET Core, Node.js, and then Java, Python, or PHP, or any other languages that what you are expecting for. And then you can select the option that what you want to work with, and um, based on the app that what you are going to get as or publish, then you will be able to selecting that, and you will be working on that. And then for this kind of thing, it will be platform as a service that would be providing the enterprise grade performance. And then it will also get the security and compliance requirement as well from it. And then what happens is, yeah, let's also see how to create the app and how to test the app as well. Let's finish off here and let's go to portal at a once, so that we will be seeing all those things together. Azure container is like uh, are something like light-weighted virtual environment that does not require operating system management and can respond to the changes on demand. And Azure container instances like there will be two things inside the there will be two things inside the Azure. One is container instances, another one is Kubernetes services. Kubernetes services will be acting as an orchestration service for containers with distributed architecture and large volume of containers that are available to use. And when it comes to Azure container instance, what happens is we will be using the uh, we will be with the help of the platform as a service, we will be running a container in Azure where we don't uh, require to manage the virtual machine or any other additional services. And um, with the simple Azure container services, we can get the PaaS offering is what the Azure Container Services will be majorly used. So, um, Kubernetes will is one of the most common that is available, and we would be like it is available in other cloud related things as well, right? So it's the same kind of thing that is available here as well. And when it comes to virtual desktop, it is a desktop and the app virtualization that runs in the cloud. And what we can do is we can create a full desktop virtualization environment without having to run additional gateway servers. And what we can also do is we can publish unlimited host pools to accommodate diverse workloads. And one more thing is we will be reducing the cost with multiple session resources that are available to us. And post that, we will be having the Azure virtual network, which is VNet, Azure private um, private network gateway, which is VPN, and Azure Express Route, which is these are the things that are available as part of the networking services that are available in Azure, where Azure Virtual Network, which is VNet, will be enabling you to will be enabling the Azure resources to communicate with each other, the internet and the on-premises networks. And then, like VPN does, it will be acting as an encrypted one that will be acting as a security guard, like between the virtual private network and an on-premises location over the public network. And express route is something like which extends on the on-premises network into Azure over a private connection that is facilitated by the connectivity provider. So these are some kind of the services that are actually available to us, like what we saw, VM and other things, right? So these all are the networking services that are available in Azure. So um, and then when it comes to storage, container, blob, disk storage, Azure files are some kind of the storage that are available inside the Azure. Whereas when it comes to container storage, it is used to store massive data, like when it comes to image or text or binary data, you can get it stored under the blob storage, which is container storage. Container storage is popularly called as blob, so we will be referring it as blob in the future sessions as well. And disk storage is something like when um, it provides disk for virtual machine applications and other services to access and use. Files is something like when it will be available for network file. It will be it's a highly available network file, and that can be used for standard server message block protocol. So these are the things that are available as part of the storage services that are available in Azure. And then when it comes to storage access tiers, there are three different things, right? So one is hot, cool, and archive. What happens when you use the storage access tiers as hot is you will be using it for optimized storing data, and it will be kind of accessed frequently. And cool is something like when it's not being accessed frequently, but it's stored for at least 30 days, so it is kind of the cool. And when it comes to archive, you will be using it rarely, and the data in it will be stored for 180 days with flexible latency and requirement. And one more thing is you can switch between the access tiers. Like if your data is in archive today, then you can put it into hot tomorrow. The only thing that requires is time and your request, that what you have to raise. With the creation, you can do it as archive. Later, you can change it into hot. You need to request your request your storage to be changed to hot, and that will require around 24 hours maximum to be to be changed from either hot to cool, or cool to archive, or archive to hot. So it requires these this kind of the things. And there lies the access tiers that are available in Azure. And then when it comes to database services that are available, we do have we do have Cosmos DB available. Cosmos DB, SQL DB, and Azure database for MySQL and PostgreSQL is also available. And these are some of the majorly used databases that are available. And then um, and it's there are differences between these databases as well, where Cosmos DB is a globally distributed database service that elastically and dependently scales up throughput and storage, where you can put datas and storage elastically, and it will be scaling up, right? So that is Cosmos DB. And when it comes to SQL database, what happens is it will be a relational database as a service, which is DAAS. And with that, um, which will be based on the Microsoft SQL Server database engine. And when it comes for Azure database for MySQL, it is a fully MySQL database that are available for the app developers. And when it comes for PostgreSQL, it's a relational database service that is available for open source database engine. So these are some of the database services that are available in Azure. And then yeah stopping here and what is getting back to the Azure portal. Let's actually create a web app. And whenever you want to search something, then when you search in the top of it, like what you want to inside the home itself, when you are able to search for it, you will be getting the services, marketplace, and all those different things that are available to you. And since we are going to create some kind of the app services that are needed, and I am going for static web apps. And since nothing is been available here, we have to create it. We will be creating it. Once we click on create, it's the same way like it works for the other things as well. First thing is you need a Azure subscription, and post that you need a resource group being created for you. If the resource group is not being created, then you will be giving create new, and you will be you will be giving the name for it. And once you give the name, you will be giving the you will be giving the name for here as well. And once that is done, you will be deciding on the hosting plan that what you need, whether like what I mentioned earlier, for a few resources that would be mentioned as free, and for few resources it would be mentioned that will not be available, like the free will not be available. So in this case we are choosing for a free, and we are proceeding with that. And we will be deciding on the region that what you have to choose for. Mostly we would be selecting the region um, that is mostly nearer to you. In this case I'm just selecting whatever that is available and proceeding with that. And once, okay, it's not allowing because I have to sign in to my GitHub. Okay. Um, okay. You have to sign in to your GitHub, and once that is done, you will be able to. Once that is all done, you will be giving the create and review. And if everything is good, then you will be getting something like your deployment is in progress when it goes back. So let me create a different one, not this one. And you will be giving a name here. Um, okay. Once you are done, you will be selecting what you have to do. And if it's a static, then again it would prompt you to create that. And if it's a Docker, then you will be given the type of the operating system that what you have to create. And I'm just selecting it as code and moving further. um, you are you will be like what we saw, you will be prompted to select the region. And in the pricing plan, you will be given the demo time as well. And then you can change the you can change the plan as and when required for you. And you will be given the pricing tiers that are available to you based on the things that what you are selecting for. And when you want to increase the memory or when you want to decrease the memory, then you can go ahead and change the size on it. And once and since it is all done, right, so I'm just giving a create and review and create. And once it is created, you will be getting something like okay, I had missed something, it seems. Okay. We have to select the programming language that it needs for. I had missed that. Let me check if everything is okay now. Okay. Okay. You can see something like initiating deployment, submitting deployment, right? So that means that your resource has been created. And once that is done, you will be getting this particular page for whatever the resource that what you are going to create. And with that, what you can do is, once the deployment is finished, your deployment is in progress will go off, and you will be getting the details of whatever the things that it that what you are currently referring for. And post that, what you can also do is, you can also get the logs and everything. Where you can get the logs is like, you have created this particular resource, right? So when you go on to that particular resource, you will be giving you this is the resource that what we have created for now. And inside that resource, we do have like activity log, and inside that activity log, it will be having the activity logs that what you can do. And then when it comes to deployment and everything, you can also maintain here with these things. And then what you can do is, you can set the you can also clone the app, and you can be able to integrate it with API. And you can also set alerts for alerts is something like, when it comes to money sorry when it comes to um, when it comes for more than the subscription that what you are going to use, then that is called as alert. Like when you are using this particular resource, and when this goes beyond your budget, then that becomes the an alert will be triggered to your email. So that, for that purpose, you will be using Azure sorry alerts, metrics, logs, advisor requirements, all these kind of monitoring things will be you would be using those things. And you will be checking you can check whether the resource is healthy or not with this one. And then if it has some kind of problem, then you can go ahead with that, and you can check inside that. And then what you can also do is, you can get the support and troubleshooting as well from here. And these are the things that are available for all the resources that what we are creating inside the Azure. And this is um, not just for the resource that what we had created for now. And this is the overall format that would be available for all the resources that are available inside Azure portal. And once this is done, you can also what you can do is, you can also make it deploy, like when you have to publish, or when you have to download it, then you can do it based on the deployments, uh, or whatever things that what you have to do. And with that, you can schedule the deployment, and you can do it. And you can also view the deployment logs that are available. And when you click on the logs, that directly goes into the deployment center. So it all deals about the deployment, right? So it will be going directly over there. And when we let's see something like creating a virtual machine for now. And when you want to create a virtual machine, what we can do is, we will be uh, like what a- like I showed earlier, you would be needing a resource group for sure. Resource group is something like that is needed for all the resource that what you have to create. And you will be giving it. And then you have to provide the virtual name, and then you have to provide the region, and availability options, and the image that what you have to put in inside the VM architecture. And the architecture is also specified here, like x8x. 64 or ARM 64, like that. And the size is also specified here. The size, like what we saw for earlier, we had something like free, right? For in this case, we don't have something called as free. It's 5785 per month. So when you create it and when you use it for 1 month, then you would be charged this amount, is what it means. So when you are almost, it means that you would be having 8 gib memory to it. And what will happen is, when you are nearing the memory, then you would be getting the memory. When you want to create a alert for it, then you can do for that as well, and get the email triggered for the same. And when you want to, uh, there are authentication type that are available to us as well. SSH public key or password. So password you can provide, or it can be SSH public key as well. And then you can, like what we did, you can just create review and create. It will be creating the virtual machine, and from there, like what we saw, a resource, you can go ahead and you can open it and you can start using it. So this is all about what I wanted to cover for today. This until now we had covered the module 1 and module 2 for now. And we had seen these things. And there are around 3 modules which are left for now, and which we will be discussing on the next day's sessions.
Yes, so hello everyone. If anyone has any doubt or any query, please let us know in the comment section. We would be very happy to take up the doubts. Yeah, so in case you have any query or any doubt, you would be feel free to drop your doubts. You will be getting a mail. You will be getting the recording of the session through your mail. So don't get worried. And the rest, okay, yeah, fine. There is no questions. Yeah. So yeah, I have Mushkan. I have shared already the registration link. You can just get the registration link from the comment section. And so Ritik is asking ma'am for the some more examples of hybrid cloud.
Okay, sure. Maybe I can, what I can do is, since we are almost running short of 30 minutes already, I can take up the few samples of hybrid cloud by tomorrow, and can start explaining by tomorrow. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So it would be great if you can just explain the hybrid cloud model a little
Sure.
bit more. So I hope Ritik you can make it to tomorrow's event. You'll be sharing the mails. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining in and thank you for making the insightful day for all the students. It was we got a really great feedback in the comment sections also. So looking forward for the day 2 and let's catch up you all later on the day 2 of the bootcamp. So thank you everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you all. Thank you, Lakshit.